What's going on, guys? Welcome back to this episode of the War Room podcast presented by the Sideline Journal. I'm your host, Mason Rather, and joining me is my co-host today, Liam Carr.
What's up, everybody? Hey, four teams left, almost Super Bowl Sunday. A tragedy, but it's great to be here, Mason. We've had some awesome football, man.
It's been some great football. We saw some great games this past weekend. It's coming down to the Final Four, but in kind of a weird moment, really, in the NFL news cycle, what's dominating it isn't the playoff games or the head coaching searches or Robert Saleh just getting hired. What's dominating it is the absolute crap show going on down in Buffalo. And that's what we want to talk about today in this episode of the War Room. We want to talk about what went right, what went wrong, the fallout from their loss in the divisional round, and where they go from here. And we got you covered because the War Room is now officially open. This is the War Room presented by the Sideline Journal, where the film doesn't lie. Let's get to work. Open. And so, Liam, the divisional round went down like every single Bills divisional round playoff game. Goes down to overtime. There's a possession here or there. Sean McDermott's got his team in a position to try to win the game, and they somehow fall short. But this time, I can't remember a more controversial moment in a playoff game since the 2014 Des catch. What the hell happened?
Oh man, it it's a tough one, Mason. It was a decision kind of between the officials. People are still arguing about it today, and this is 6 days after it happened. Um, you know, Joe Burrow tweeted for the first time in 2 years to complain about what happened. Um, Mason, is it the officials' fault? Who is it? My opinion is if you don't want the officials to be involved in a game decision, you got to beat them in the first quarter or the second quarter. And I know that's not always fair, because the games go down to the wire, but um, the Bills had plenty of opportunity to not lose that game. Um, but when it came down to it, a disappointing turn of events with that catch, Mason. What did you see on that catch? What was your opinion? And then just that overtime, what happened?
Yeah, so like I'm gonna get out of coach mode for a little bit because normally the coaches speak here is you never let the game get decided by the officials, but like looking at it objectively, because I'm a diehard Cowboys fan, I really don't care about the outcome of this game. I just wanted to watch good football. And I think good football lost from the result of this game
Oof.
because in overtime, what we watched was an arbitrary decision made hastily, without a review, without an explanation, that ended a team's season. Because from all of my time watching football, coaching it at the Division II level, playing it in high school, the tie goes to the
Yeah,
offense.
I
If
feel.
there is not clear possession from the defender, it goes to the offense. And we've seen it time and again in the NFL. We saw it all the way back in that controversial, I think, 2012 game between the Seahawks and the Packers, where it looked like Golden Tate just stuck his hands in where a DB picked it off, and it got ruled a touchdown. We saw it later this week with Devontae Adams and two Bears
Yeah.
defenders. It got ruled a catch. And then we see in this exact moment, Brandon Cooks catches it, makes possession, gets 2 feet, so he's established the act of the catch with clear possession, has established 2 feet in the ground. He makes a football move by diving to the ground. He has survived the ground with clear possession, and he's been touched and he's down by contact. At that point, it's a catch, and then it gets ripped away from him as they roll through momentum, and Jalen McMillan shows up like, hey, I intercepted it. But it's like when someone catches it in the end zone. The second a defender rips it away from someone in the end zone, it doesn't matter. It gets ruled a touchdown. This was a hastily made bad decision that ended a team's season. And that
Oh,
is never what I'm going to root for in a playoff game, Liam. Just never
what
going to
about
root for
a
it.
overtime period 53-yard pass interference call?
See, I was even going to get all the way into that because the officiating rules that was in the first 4 quarters of that game to then what happened in overtime was absolutely just flipped on its head insane. Like 50, so I like we made a tweet. If you don't follow us on the War Room or on the Sideline Journal Twitter, you should, because we live tweet now, which is something fun that we're doing. Shameless plug right there.
New elephant.
But live tweeted that all it took to defeat Josh Allen and co. was a controversial call since the Dez catch in 53 yards and PI penalty. Like, so that way everyone understands. They advanced from the minus 20 to the plus 27 for a 40-yard field goal off of penalties. And it wasn't like the Bills DB like Taron Johnson or Tre'Davious White was just tackling or mauling a receiver. Bo Nix threw up a moon ball that was 5 yards underthrown, and then they're throwing a flag immediately. Like, I can go point in that game to Riley Moss practically just arm raping Brandon Cooks, and they didn't call a flag. Like, my deal is like, you have to be consistent in how you call a game. Some games are going to be if you touch somebody, flag. Other games are going to let them play.
Let
and
them play. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, in a playoff game, just let them play.
The Miami-Indiana college football game, and I know it's not NFL, but Miami-Indiana, for those that watched, very obvious let them play. And I don't think anybody's complaining about the officials.
No. But I think that's also where the college game's better than the pro game, is that those PI penalties, when they are called, they're just 15-yard penalties. Which I think that there needs to be and now everybody's going to be like, well, every time Josh Allen loses, there's an NFL rule change. But I really think that there needs to be a discussion in the next couple of years about changing it from a spot foul penalty, because that's just an insane way to lose a game. And so I think that Tre'Davious White's crash out on the official is totally warranted. I think Sean McDermott standing up for Buffalo was totally warranted. But we all know what resulted from that game, Liam. Sean McDermott's fired.
Shocking. So shocking. Is he really the problem, Mason? According to the people in charge in Buffalo, it seems like he was the problem. Or is he just the scapegoat?
I mean, I'm not trying to dominate the conversation here, but like, I know I've pretty much asked pretty loudly a lot of times, like, what value does Sean McDermott provide the Bills? But I thought he did his best coaching job this year.
Yeah.
Truthfully.
Yeah, I mean, look at the team that is around him, and I think I've been saying I said it since the preseason. I think it's a pretty good team. They're not terrible. Josh Allen has help, and we've maybe disagreed on his help. I think James Cook, he proved that he is a top running back in the NFL. He led the league in scrimmage yards. The offensive line really came in strong at the end with their pass block. Josh Allen had some scrambles, yeah, but for the most part, it was fine. Their defense, yeah, could use some help. At the beginning of the year, they could not stop the run at all, but it came on strong a little bit. But the team assembled around him. For Josh Allen to be there that long, to not help him at all with the wide receivers, I mean, I like their tight ends, but the wide receivers especially, that is insane. And so, yeah, Mason, you posted on that Sideline Journal Twitter. Make sure you go follow that. The tweet about their past, I forget how many of the past drafts you've had on there. 3 or 4 of the past drafts. That is a tough team to come behind. I mean, those guys, Mason, I don't want to be rude, but it's hard to name off some of those guys because they just can't seem to get a real solid athlete in the D tackle and the middle linebacker and the safety. I think through and through on the line, injuries happen. You got to have at least, what, 9 good linemen? Yeah, it was really tough. So you really pinpointed it with is this Sean McDermott's problem or is this Brandon Beane? And so that's all I have on Sean McDermott. I can't wait to get into Brandon Beane, but I think you might have a little more takes on Sean McDermott firing.
Yeah, I mean, my deal with it is like, for the past couple years, like 2022 was their strongest roster, the 13-second game. If you fired Sean McDermott after that, I could have got behind it. I could have understood it. 2023, after that pretty bad loss to the Bengals, if you fired him then, I could understand it. But since those seasons, The roster has just gotten progressively
Yeah.
worse,
Okay. Yeah.
while I think Sean McDermott has progressively gotten so much better as a coach, because everyone forgets before Sean McDermott got there, the Buffalo Bills didn't sniff the playoffs for 18 years. This organization has never won a Super Bowl. This isn't like the Green Bay Packers being called Title Town. This isn't the San Francisco 49ers. This is not a premier organization in football. This
Mhm.
is the Buffalo Bills. And this coach, in his 9 seasons there, all-time career winning percentage is top 10.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's 68%, and a lot of it can be attributed to Josh Allen, yes, but what coach is going to have the balls mid-season to fire the OC and promote Joe Brady, whose only other OC experience in the league was the Panthers when they went 5-12? Who's going to have the balls to do that? Sean McDermott did. They were top 5 in fourth down attempts this year, which is completely against what Sean McDermott likes to do. You know what their blitz percentage was this year? They were ninth in blitz attempts. Keep in mind, 2 years ago, they were bottom 10. So, what I'm saying is, for Sean McDermott, who's always seen as this very level headed, very consistent, not emotional, rah guy, resistant to change, he adapted and evolved and changed a lot to put this team in the best position to win. And the reason he had to do that is how bad this roster really is. And why I'm saying that is, look at the wide receivers. Brandon Beane spent $30 million in cap space for Curtis Samuel and Joshua Palmer. You know what they combined receiving yards wise this year? 395 receiving yards. He spent a second round pick on Keon Coleman, who can't even get snaps over Tyrell Shavers with a torn ACL.
Yep, that's true.
That's like an actual stat. And I mean,
And then don't forget, between the Jaguars and the Broncos game, I believe they asked what are they going to do with Shavers out, and he said, we signed Michael Hardman and somebody else. I'm drawing a blank on the other guy's name, but he said we signed McCole Hardman. I think that. What else do you want me to do?
yeah, I mean, it's inexcusable to go into a playoff game with Brandon Cooks, your 32-year-old Brandon Cooks is your number one wide receiver in 2026. It's just
Yeah, in the Big
inexcusable
2-6.
in the Big 2-6. And it's the fact that Brandon Beane in the offseason, in his media availability, is just questioning everybody to how dare they say the receivers are bad. This is a championship level roster. Well, this championship level roster, their number one edge rusher was a 30-year-old Joey Bosa. That's not a championship level roster. I know Gregory Rousseau exists and AJ Epineza
Yeah,
exists, but
yeah, they did.
I'm ready to say they're draft busts. They're first and second round picks that haven't ever gotten over double digit sacks. That's not good.
Man, Mason, you know the Bills roster up and down for a Dallas Cowboys fan, but hey, I'm ready to just dig into what happened today.
Yeah, I mean I am too with this presser.
You seem
This
like you're ready. I'm ready to. I hope you guys saw. It's been probably a while now since the presser's been out, and it's been talked about. It dominated the Wednesday, January 21st headline. Um, Look, and let's we've been seeing some owner GM pressers recently. I think most notably the Baltimore Ravens after John Harbaugh was fired. The owner goes, I gotta speak to the media. And he has honestly a really great presser. None of these pressers after a depressing coaching firing or depressing season with the outcome, none of the pressers are ever great. But this guy, he just did really good damage control on the entire team. All right. And the best part is just that he was honest, Mason. I don't know how much you got to watch of the Baltimore Ravens, but he comes out there and he keeps it short and sweet, and he was brutally honest. And it wasn't always probably what he was saying wasn't probably the nicest all the time. But I remember there was a reporter that asked, how do you plan to find a guy like John Harbaugh and bring him in? You know? And the guy goes, that'll be easy because I'm the one that found Harbaugh. You know? It's
yeah.
just brutally honest and short and sweet. great confidence, and that guy, he nailed it. And as a Baltimore fan, after that, I feel like you'd be like, all right, yeah, I feel a little bit better. We'll be fine. It's probably what you thought. Mason, after this Buffalo Bills one, do Buffalo Bills fans feel any better after this presser this morning?
I don't know how you can. You have to feel like, well, we just got rid of the wrong person. I don't know
Yeah.
how you come away any different from that. Because, I mean, how bizarre is it for an existing owner to talk about, for one, not even really mention the head coach they just fired and what they did, to release a press statement with a typo saying admiral instead of admirable, and then without even really being prompted to start talking about an existing player under contract on the roster, blaming the dude you just kicked out of the door. Like, if I'm Keon Coleman, I refuse to ever play for Buffalo again. There's no
Yeah, they were
way.
talking about Keon Coleman like he was the biggest disappointment of all time.
It's just, I don't know how you come away from that presser feeling any better. I think like, all it does is just remind you what this place was before McDermott got there
Yeah,
and what they will be after Josh Allen is gone. Because
100%.
that is the only saving grace for them, is that they have Josh Allen. And I, I just don't know how you feel any better about it. But like, what I want to talk about too from this pressure that really came out is you can just tell that this was an organizational power play between Brandon Beane and Sean
Yeah.
McDermott. And so much stuff came out of it about how privately Sean McDermott questioned if this was a championship level roster or not. And a lot of people forget how Brandon Beane even came into power as a GM for this team. And when Sean McDermott originally got hired, he ran the first draft class for this team because the GM that was there immediately was fired a day after the draft, and Sean McDermott suggested his buddy Brandon Beane to be the GM. Well, in that draft class, you might recognize some of the names:
Ooh,
Jordan Poyer, Matt Milano, Deion Dawkins. So, franchise linebacker, franchise left
yeah,
tackle, franchise safety in one
pretty good.
draft. Pretty good football players. So, I'm saying that to say Sean McDermott knows how to evaluate talent, and any head coach in a league knows how to gauge it. But they're not paid to make the actual drafting decisions because they've got to coach it. But just to not even entertain that conversation, and you've got an owner who's like, well, then why am I spending over the cap for this bad roster, and they don't want to believe it, and that's how you end up with a fired coach that wins 68% of his games. So I really don't know where they go from here, Liam. Where do you think they go?
Uh, yeah, that it's kind of tough. Here, I'll start here. At the end of the season, there's 31 teams at rock bottom, and it's rock bottom depending on their team. The rock bottom for the New York Jets is not the same as the rock bottom for the Dallas Cowboys or then the San Francisco 49ers. All right, they're all
Yeah,
at these different levels of rock bottom. The Buffalo Bills, when their season ended, they hit rock bottom. And they're the only team in the NFL this season to when they did that, they kept on digging down with this presser and the firing of Sean McDermott, and then the same day, in the same announcement, the promotion of Brandon Beane. Um, so where do they go from here? Mason, I don't know. I was sitting at my work today and I I was thinking of their outlook. And so, look, the owner and the GM are in charge of the next year, next 5 years, and then the next decade plan for the team. Just their little outline, their vision. What do they want? What are they going to need later? The head coach is the day-to-day, the next month, this season guy. He's
for
not supposed to
sure.
be the one worried about who am I going to have next year and the next 3 years and the next 5 years. So Sean McDermott, he was just worried about the now, and he was trusting. He had to trust Brandon Beane, 5 years ago that we're going to be somewhere special. Uh, you know, in 2025, 2026, and then 2027. I'm sure Sean McDermott was thinking about next year, 2027. That's going to be our year because we're going to get a great draft class. And so what do they do from here? They set themselves back. All right, that whole next year, 5 year, 10 year plan is I bet it's not even there anymore. They have to redo it, and that is never good for an organization like this. And you said it earlier. Don't forget where this team was. And Mason, let's be honest. This team was like a right now Arizona Cardinals, a Cleveland Browns type, a Detroit Lions. This team used to be one of those bottom tier teams. They had flashes of goodness, but most of the time, the Buffalo Bills have always just kind of sucked. All right. And honestly, I forgot about that until, Josh Allen was here. And I was like, the Buffalo Bills are going to be good forever. They're set. And honestly, they're not looking, this was like a journalist going in there, ripping off a band-aid and seeing, look at this. And, it's honestly not pretty. And so now it's like, you go in there, it's a new house, and the house looks fine on the outside, and it has a nice kitchen and a big bedroom, but the floorboards and the just the bones of the house, the structure of it is disgusting. That ownership and the GM kind of ruined it today. And I think their best chance at getting a new head coach has to be and only will be Brian Dabble. That's the only way that they can like come about this situation that they did today and feel a little bit positive going into the draft. I don't think any other coach would want to come in here and say, "Look at what you guys did to Sean McDermott. I'm supposed to do better than that, and then you'll like me." Mason, I think the only way that they can have a positive outlook on the rest of the year um, is hire Brian Daboll. What do you think of that?
And I think what you said is really perfect. The house analogy. The foundation is rotten at the core, and why it is because Josh Allen. He's probably going to be in his physical prime for the next 5 to 6 years because he's
Sure.
approaching 30. But that's also where the roster is. The roster is all right around that. They're all on second and third contracts. You've got major contributors on the offensive line in Connor McGovern and David Edwards, the right guard, going into free agency. You've got to find a way to replace the defense because Matt Milano's 32. Tre'Davious White is no spring chicken.
Their edge rusher,
Their
Joey Bosa, is
their edge rushing situation, if their defensive line, like the entire defense is old and needs to be like. Not getting into any more obtuse roster conversations because that can get a little boring for people, but the only way forward for them is getting Brian Daboll and getting him to reestablish the already existing culture of, hey, Josh Allen's our quarterback. We are going to live and die by Josh Allen. We are going to play Buffalo Bills football and we're going to win. That's the only way that I see it happening because, I mean, what other coach are you going to go grab out there right now that is going to do any better than Sean McDermott? Joe Brady.
Harbaugh, but he's taken.
Harbaugh is taken. He's with the Giants. Joe Brady is not going to do that. I'm sorry, but rookie head coach, that's not gonna happen.
Yeah, we're kind of running out.
You gonna go get Mike McCarthy, who couldn't do it with the Cowboys, couldn't do it with Aaron Rodgers more than once.
I mean, what it'd be Minter and
Jesse Minter.
Sure.
Jesse Minter is a Baltimore Raven. There's no way.
I don't know who then.
I think Chris Shula. So, like, the outside candidates outside of Brian Daboll is going to be what happens with that Steelers job, which between Chris Shula and Mike McCarthy don't get it. Because if you really want to set the Buffalo Bills into hell, go hire Matt Nagy. Go do that.
That would be the worst. Yeah, see, if they don't get Brian, Mason, do you agree with me? If they don't get Brian, like, I don't really see many other positives. And
No,
Matt Nagy,
like, I've seen buzz about going and hiring a 30-year-old Davis Webb to be a first-time head coach, which
I, I saw.
I think he'll be a good OC. But you don't give a first-time head coach a job like this. They need to win now. Like, they got to go
Yeah,
do it next year.
I mean, you have an MVP quarterback. You would think that they would have a great selection of coaches to choose from, and it looks like Matt Nagy is one of the options right now. So just thinking about that, if I'm a Bills fan, I'm like, I am so scared right now for the future. I mean, what are we gonna do? Are we gonna let Josh Allen rot? Is Josh Allen gonna end up demanding a trade?
You know
Is
what?
that the future,
Well,
Mason?
I don't know if that's the future, but I can tell you it can turn into a sad future what the Dallas Cowboys have right now, where you've got a generational top 10 quarterback. I'm not comparing Dak Prescott to Josh Allen because Josh Allen's a much better quarterback. I'm just saying, like, your best player, far and away, the only good thing you have going for your franchise is your quarterback, and then the rest of the roster's so bad. You start going 7-9. That's what'll happen because that's what the Cowboys do. Everything else around that roster is awful other than the offense and the quarterback. And that is what they are going to look at is instead of their floor being 12-5 playoffs, it's going to be 7-9, miss the playoffs. So, I don't know. I think we're in agreement that this firing was dumb. This presser was an all-time bad one. And
Yes,
I really don't know what they do from here that's anything positive other than hiring Brian Daboll.
that's exactly what I have as well. I don't think there's another way that they can fix this other than that. And this is already a terrible issue. And like I said before, is that they hit rock bottom and then kept on going. And no other team has done that. Every other team has kind of turned around and been like, all right, let's start getting up. Let's start getting back to the surface level. And the Bills decided after their season ended, no, we can make this worse. So they have a whole lot more work to do this offseason.
Yep, and I'm excited to see where they go from here. To be honest, because I mean, there's no way Keon Coleman is going to be a Bill next year. They've got, I think, when I read it, there were 9 starters from this playoff run entering free agency. They only have like 17 million in cap space.
That's
They
not good.
only have they have the 25th pick in the first round. So I'm excited to see what they go from here. Um,
Look,
you
and I think this is like I'm not trying to add more points, but I think this is just a big issue because everybody seems to like the Buffalo Bills. And that's why there's so many just like comments on it.
Yeah, it's a feel good story because I mean this is a team that went to 4 straight Super Bowls in the 90s and lost all of them, and then were terrible for almost 2 decades. And it's been such a good feel good story of Bills Mafia, them going crazy in the snow, donating to great causes,
The
smashing
fans, yeah, yeah.
tables. Watching Josh Allen reignite that city, and I think it's like how America felt with Indiana this year with college football. You get a little joy in your heart watching the Buffalo Bills be good. And I think it's kind of sad that after almost a 9-year run that a lot of people are waking up and realizing that's over. Because I don't I just don't see how they get it done in, at least next year. It's going to take a 2 or 3 year period to try to get back to where they've been. So but that's kind of the situation, I think, in a nutshell. Really, at this point, we wouldn't want to hear your takes. We want to hear your opinion on it. What are we missing? What do you think? Do you have a coaching candidate that we don't know about that you think would be a better job position for the Buffalo Bills? You drop your take down below and let us know. But y'all know that we're going to have you covered going all the way through this. We got conference championship weekend coming up. We're going to get to
Hmm.
watch absolute duel between Jared Stidham and Drake May, and then NFC West Championship Round 3. And we'll be live
Yeah.
tweeting it out, and we appreciate y'all riding with us, and we've really only got 3 more weeks until this year's over.
3 games left. I'm disappointed, depressed, saddened, but it's been a great season, a fantastic season. Really happy to start the Sideline Journal with this season, and we're not stopping. As soon as the season's over, we'll probably start with the draft. So excited to keep it going. Follow us on whatever, everything.
Because we're on everything. We're on Instagram, we're on TikTok, we're on Twitter, we're on YouTube, we're on Spotify. Follow up, keep with us on your library. We've probably got some sort of medium that you can digest. And I mean, like Liam said, going into this offseason, I mean, we're going to be doing like we did last year. We're going to have draft coverage. We're going to look at each head coach hiring and firing. We're going to assess each team going out in the offseason, their division. And then by the time that we've gotten through all of that, guess what? It's going to be August. It's going to be the NFL again. So the Sideline
Yep.
Journal is your perfect patch for when football season isn't here, and we love to talk football
Yes,
with
sir.
you guys. So we appreciate it, and we will catch you in the next episode of the War Room. We appreciate you guys watching the penultimate episode of the War Room podcast and its debut season here at the Sideline Journal. 346 subscribers. We've been there for the past couple weeks, and we can push it to 350 before the end of the year. We'd really appreciate it, but as long as y'all keep watching, we're going to keep making it. Make sure y'all also follow us on Twitter. We're live tweeting a lot of our thoughts now, so that way it's not such a lag time, and we're actually starting to get some of our predictions out on paper. Anyways, we appreciate it, and we'll catch you in the next episode. Peace out.